The Tragedy of Josely Judith Arias Regalado, a tale of trust and betrayal, a life full of promise. In the vibrant port city of Puerto Barrios, nestled in the department of Izabal, Guatemala, a young woman named Josely Judith Arias Regalado grew up enveloped in the warmth of her family. Born to her devoted mother, Rosal, and raised alongside her brother, Anthony, Josely was known for her shy demeanor and boundless aspirations. Puerto Barrios, a bustling hub on Guatemala's Caribbean coast, is a place where the rhythm of the sea blends with the daily hum of commerce and community. Its history as a key port for the United Fruit Company in the early 20th century has left a legacy of cultural diversity and economic activity, but also of social challenges, including poverty and crime in certain areas. For Josely, however, this was home, a place where her dreams took root amidst the love of those closest to her. From a young age, Josely's reserved nature belied a heart brimming with kindness. Neighbors and family recalled her as a dreamer, someone who envisioned a bright future despite the modest circumstances of her upbringing. Puerto Barrios, with its tropical climate and vibrant markets, offered a backdrop to her childhood filled with small joys, playing with her brother, helping her mother at home, and imagining a life beyond the city's humid streets. Though specific details about her early years are scarce, those who knew her spoke of her gentle spirit and unwavering optimism. She was the kind of person who found beauty in the everyday, whether it was the chatter of vendors at the local market or the laughter of children playing by the docks. As Josely entered her teenage years, her life took a pivotal turn when she met Angel Daniel Chinchilla. Their connection was immediate, a spark that grew into a deep and committed relationship. Angel, a hardworking young man with his own ambitions, shared Josely's vision of building a life together. Their bond was strengthened by shared dreams, and by April 2024, their hopes crystallized into reality. Josely, at just 18 years old, discovered she was pregnant with a daughter they would name Genesis Ariel. The news filled them with uncontainable joy. For Josely and Angel, this was the beginning of a new chapter, one where they would become parents, nurturing a family of their own in the heart of Puerto Barrios. The couple's excitement was palpable as they prepared for Genesis's arrival. Josely, meticulous and devoted, wanted everything to be perfect for her daughter. She spent hours envisioning the nursery, picturing the clothes her baby would wear and the toys that would spark her first smiles. In a city where economic challenges often made such preparations a luxury, Josely's determination to provide for her child was a testament to her love. She and Angel worked tirelessly, she as a salesperson at a local telephone company and he managing his small business, to ensure their daughter would want for nothing. Their lives, though simple, were filled with purpose and anticipation. The lure of social media. In October 2024, with Josely 7 months pregnant, the couple's preparations intensified. The humid air of Puerto Barrios carried the promise of the coming rainy season, and Josely was busy gathering essentials for Genesis. It was during this time that she stumbled upon an advertisement on social media that caught her attention. A woman was offering to give away children's items, clothes, toys, and accessories, seemingly out of a desire to help others. The offer resonated with Josely, who saw it as a chance to ease the financial strain of preparing for her baby. In a region where economic hardship is common, such acts of generosity were not unheard of, and Josely, trusting and hopeful, reached out to the woman via messaging. The woman, later identified as Thelma Yulisa Marroquin, shared a heartbreaking story. She claimed to be suffering from depression after losing her own baby during pregnancy, explaining that she was giving away the items as a way to cope with her grief. Her story tugged at Josely's empathetic heart. The two exchanged messages, building a rapport that seemed genuine to Josely. They agreed to meet on October 23, 2024, at Yulisa's home in Puerto Barrios, where Josely would pick up the promised items. The address, located at 9th Street and 16th Avenue in the El Mic neighborhood, was in a familiar part of the city, giving Josely no reason to suspect danger. Social media platforms like Facebook have become integral to life in Guatemala, particularly in urban areas like Puerto Barrios. According to a 2023 report by Statista, over 70% of Guatemalans use social media, with Facebook being the most popular platform. These platforms serve as marketplaces, community boards, and social connectors, especially for young people like Josely who navigate them with ease. However, the anonymity and accessibility of social media also create vulnerabilities. In recent years, Guatemala has seen a rise in cybercrimes, including scams and predatory schemes targeting vulnerable populations, such as pregnant women or those in financial need. Unbeknownst to Josely, her interaction with Yulisa was not the act of kindness it appeared to be. A day that began like any other. October 23, 2024, dawned like any other day in Puerto Barrios. The sun rose over the Amatique Bay, casting a golden glow on the city's colorful buildings. Josely woke early, her thoughts likely occupied by the day's plans. She said goodbye to Angel as he left for work, a routine they had perfected over the months of their marriage. The couple had a habit of texting each other upon arriving at their workplaces, a small gesture that kept them connected despite their busy schedules. That morning, Josely told her sister-in-law she was heading to pick up the baby items, mentioning the address provided by Yulisa. She was excited, eager to bring home clothes and accessories for Genesis. Angel, busy with his work, didn't think much of it when Josely didn't respond to his messages that morning. He assumed she was caught up in a meeting at her job with the telephone company. But as the hours passed and noon approached, his concern grew. He called her workplace, only to learn that Josely had requested the day off. Confused and increasingly worried, he contacted Rosal, Josely's mother, who revealed that Josely had gone to collect baby clothes from a woman offering them for free. The news unsettled Angel. Something felt off. He closed his business early and rushed home, hoping to find Josely there, but the house was empty. Driven by a growing sense of unease, Angel set out to search for his wife. Puerto Barrios, though not a large city, is a maze of streets and neighborhoods, and Angel's search took him through familiar places: the market, the docks, the tortilla shop near their home. He asked passersby if they had seen Josely, describing her pregnant silhouette and gentle demeanor. At one point, he encountered a young woman with a cart, who denied offering any baby items. Another woman near a tortilla shop suggested Josely might be on a nearby street, but the lead led nowhere. Angel's desperation mounted with each fruitless inquiry. Meanwhile, Rosal and Anthony joined the search, their worry mirroring Angel's. They scoured the city, posting pleas for information on social media, hoping someone had seen Josely. A relative provided a crucial clue. That morning, around 7:30 a.m., he had dropped Josely off near the address she had been given. He explained that they had arrived on a motorcycle, but the narrow, unpaved road to the house was inaccessible, so Josely had walked the final stretch alone. She had called the relative shortly after, saying she would return by taxi because the items were too numerous to carry. Armed with this information, the family converged on the address at 9th Street and 16th Avenue. A heartbreaking discovery. When Angel, Rosal, and Anthony arrived at the house, they were met by a woman, Yulisa Marroquin, who confirmed that Josely had been there earlier but claimed she had left in a taxi. Yulisa's demeanor was sympathetic. She offered her phone number and urged Angel to contact her if he needed help. Trusting her words, Angel left to file a missing person report with the public ministry, Guatemala's prosecutorial authority. The ministry promptly activated an Isabel Claudina alert, a system established in 2018 to expedite searches for missing women in response to the country's high rates of femicide and violence against women. According to the Guatemalan Human Rights Ombudsman, over 2,000 women were reported missing in 2024 alone, with many cases linked to gender-based violence. As the alert spread, Rosal and Anthony continued their search, clinging to hope but haunted by a gnawing fear. Their worst fears were confirmed later that day when a call came in. Josely had been found. The family rushed back to the house on 9th Street and 16th Avenue, a place they had visited just hours earlier. This time, they ventured to a wooded area behind the property, a patch of overgrown land littered with debris. What they found there shattered them. Josely's body lay face down, wrapped in sheets and covered with trash and plastic bags, as if discarded without care. The family, desperate for a sign of life, removed the debris and turned her over. The sight was devastating. Blood matted her hair, and wounds marred her mouth and face. But the true horror revealed itself when they uncovered her body fully. Josely's abdomen had been brutally slashed open, and her unborn daughter, Genesis, had been forcibly removed from her womb. The realization hit like a tidal wave. Josely was gone, and so was the baby they had all dreamed of welcoming. Angel, overcome with grief, searched frantically for Genesis, hoping against hope that she might still be alive. But the wooded area yielded no trace of the newborn. The family's cries echoed through the neighborhood, drawing the attention of neighbors who were equally horrified by the scene. The brutality of the crime shook Puerto Barrios, a city no stranger to violence but unaccustomed to such a grotesque act. According to a 2024 report by the United Nations, Guatemala ranks among the highest in Latin America for femicide, with over 1,800 women killed annually, often in cases marked by extreme cruelty. Josely's murder was a stark reminder of this grim reality. The investigation begins. The National Civil Police, PNC, and prosecutors from the public ministry arrived swiftly, cordoning off the crime scene and beginning their investigation. Forensic experts combed the area, uncovering chilling evidence. Blood-stained clothing, towels, scissors, and razor blades, all pointing to a violent and deliberate act. The scene suggested a crude, clandestine cesarean section, performed without medical expertise or regard for Josely's life. The public ministry confirmed that Josely had a deep abdominal wound, and her baby had been extracted, likely while she was still alive. The community's outrage was immediate, and suspicion quickly fell on Yulisa Marroquin, the 33-year-old waitress who lived at the house where Josely's body was found. Yulisa had initially presented herself as cooperative, but her story began to unravel under scrutiny. The PNC conducted raids across Puerto Barrios, targeting properties in the El Mict neighborhood. On October 24, 2024, their efforts bore fruit. Yulisa was apprehended at a nearby residence. During the raid, investigators made another heartbreaking discovery. Hidden inside a wooden piece of furniture, wrapped in a blanket and dressed in a diaper, hat, blouse, and socks, was the body of Genesis Ariel. The newborn had not survived, succumbing to perinatal asphyxia shortly after her forcible removal from her mother's womb. The forensic examination conducted by the National Institute of Forensic Sciences, INASIF, provided further clarity. Josely's cause of death was a uterine laceration caused by a sharp instrument, consistent with a botched cesarean performed by someone without medical training. Genesis, meanwhile, had died within hours of her extraction, her fragile life extinguished by the trauma of her birth. The findings pointed to a premeditated act, one driven by motives that were not yet fully understood. A community in shock. The news of Josely and Genesis's deaths sent shockwaves through Puerto Barrios. Neighbors gathered outside the crime scene, their anger palpable as they demanded justice. The PNC deployed special forces to maintain order, wary of potential unrest in a community reeling from the crime's brutality. Local media outlets, including Prensa Libre and Emisoras Unidas, covered the story extensively, highlighting the savagery of the act and the community's grief. Social media platforms, particularly Facebook, became a space for mourning and outrage, with users sharing Josely's story and warning others about the dangers of online interactions. The case also sparked a broader conversation about safety in Guatemala, particularly for women. The Isabel Claudina alert system, named after two women killed in 2001 and 2005, was designed to address the epidemic of violence against women, but its effectiveness has been hampered by systemic issues, including underfunded police forces and judicial delays. According to a 2024 report by Human Rights Watch, Guatemala's justice system struggles to address femicide cases, with only 3% of such cases resulting in convictions. Josely's murder underscored the urgent need for stronger protections and faster responses to missing persons reports. As the investigation progressed, authorities explored the possibility that Yulisa had not acted alone. The public ministry noted that such crimes, where babies are forcibly taken from their mothers, are rare but often linked to criminal networks involved in human trafficking or illegal adoptions. Guatemala's proximity to porous borders with Honduras and El Salvador makes it a hub for such activities, with the U.S. State Department's 2024 Trafficking in Persons report classifying Guatemala as a Tier 2 country, indicating significant but insufficient efforts to combat trafficking. The fear that Josely's death was part of a larger scheme heightened the community's anxiety. The path to justice. Josely and Genesis were laid to rest in Puerto Barrios' community cemetery, their funeral marked by an outpouring of grief and solidarity. Friends, neighbors, and even strangers brought food and drinks, offering support to Rosal, Anthony, and Angel as they mourned. The ceremony was a somber affair, with the community united in their demand for justice. Josely's family, devastated by their loss, chose to remain out of the public eye, focusing on their grief and the hope that the legal system would hold Yulisa accountable. On October 31, 2024, Yulisa Marroquin was formally charged with 2 counts of femicide, one for Josely's murder and one for Genesis's death, and placed in preventive detention. The public ministry's investigation revealed that Yulisa had lured Josely to her home under the pretense of gifting baby items, a ploy that exploited Josely's trust and vulnerability. Screenshots of their Facebook conversations, which later went viral, showed Yulisa's calculated approach, offering free clothes and toys to draw Josely in. Disturbingly, other pregnant women in Puerto Barrios came forward, reporting similar messages from Yulisa, suggesting a pattern of predatory behavior. The trial began on April 7, 2025, in the Isabal Criminal Sentencing Court. Yulisa, wearing a mask to obscure her face, declined to testify on the first day, a move that frustrated those seeking answers. The prosecution presented a compelling case, supported by over 15 pieces of evidence, including blood-stained items, bedspreads, clothing, a diaper, and a children's dress, and sharp instruments like scissors and razors used in the crime. Surveillance footage analyzed by the PNC traced Josely's route to Yulisa's home, corroborating the timeline of events. Angel's testimony was a pivotal moment in the trial. His voice trembling with emotion, he recounted the desperate search for his wife and the horrific moment of finding her body. "She took away my dreams of being a father and a husband," he told the court, his words resonating with everyone present. Rosal, Anthony, and Josely's sister-in-law also testified, their accounts painting a picture of a vibrant young woman whose life was cut short by an unimaginable act of cruelty. Rosal's testimony was particularly poignant, as she described the moment of discovering her daughter's mutilated body, a scene that brought Yulisa to tears, an act some interpreted as remorse, others as manipulation. A chilling detail emerged during the trial. Yulisa had tattooed the date of the crime, October 23, 2024, on her body while in prison. Psychologists testifying for the prosecution suggested this was a sign of affirmation and guilt, a macabre way of marking her actions. The prosecution also revealed that Yulisa had not acted alone, though her accomplices remained unidentified. The crime, they argued, was premeditated, with Josely neutralized inside Yulisa's home to facilitate the extraction of her baby, a procedure performed without anesthesia, leading to Genesis's death by asphyxiation 12 hours later. On the second day of the trial, Yulisa expressed a desire to testify but requested a private session, citing concerns that her statements could implicate others. The court, acknowledging her right to confidentiality, limited attendance to the judges, her defense attorney, and the prosecution, excluding the media and public. As of mid-May 2025, the details of her testimony remain undisclosed, with the trial ongoing and 89 documents and 19 digital pieces of evidence still to be presented. A call for caution. Josely's tragic death highlighted the dangers of social media, a tool that connects communities but also exposes users to risks. The public ministry issued a public advisory, urging caution when engaging with strangers online, especially for transactions involving free or discounted goods. They recommended informing trusted contacts of meeting plans and choosing public locations, such as shopping malls, to avoid isolated or dangerous situations. The advisory resonated in Puerto Barrios, where residents were shaken by the realization that a seemingly innocent offer could lead to such a horrific outcome. The case also shed light on broader issues in Guatemala, including the vulnerability of pregnant women and the challenges of combating gender-based violence. According to a 2024 report by the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, Guatemala's femicide rates remain among the highest in the region, driven by systemic inequalities and weak institutional responses. Josely's story became a rallying cry for reform, with activists calling for stronger protections for women and better oversight of online platforms. A legacy of loss and resilience. As the trial continues, Puerto Barrios remains a city in mourning, forever changed by the loss of Josely and Genesis. Their story is a stark reminder of the fragility of trust in the digital age and the devastating consequences of unchecked cruelty. For Angel, Rosal, and Anthony, the pain of their loss is immeasurable, yet their pursuit of justice reflects a resilience born of love and memory. Josely Judith Arias Regalado was more than a victim. She was a daughter, a sister, a wife, and a mother-to-be whose dreams were stolen in an act of unimaginable violence. Her story, though tragic, has sparked a movement for awareness and change, urging communities to protect their own and hold perpetrators accountable. As the legal process unfolds, the hope is that justice will honor Josely and Genesis, ensuring that their lives, though brief, leave a lasting impact on a world striving for safety and compassion.